What's going on, guys? Mustang Matt here. I'm going to be hitting you guys with an install video today. What I got is an upgrade for my PMAS intake. Currently this is what I got. I threw an outerwears pre-filter on it because of the mod that I'm going to be doing. And what it is it's a fender mounted intake. So it basically takes this, it adapts to this, and it puts the filter way down there, and it completely blocks it off from all the heat in the engine bay for those lower IATs. The IATs do get pretty high with this, but once you're moving, they cool back down. That is going to keep it cool all the time. So, you know, when you're in the staging lanes on the track, it's not sitting there heat soaking and getting all that engine bay heat in there. It's a pretty good upgrade. If you already have a PMAS, it's like a $120 upgrade. I bought mine through Juggernaut Performance, and yeah, let's get to it. I got my head strap here so I can be hands-free and kind of show you guys exactly what I'm seeing and what I'm doing. All right, guys, so the first thing that I went ahead and did, I did go ahead and take these out. Basically, I use this, use a swivel. You don't have to go through the fender liner to get to these. You can get through it. You can get to it right through here. It's right down there. Let me kind of show you guys exactly where. Right where you see that black clip, and it's right about there where my finger is. So those nuts are right there. That's going to be the first thing that you take off, and then it's the same on this side, same hole, same spot. Just take those nuts off. The next thing that we're gonna have to do is remove the radiator cover. All right, I got me a couple plastic trim tools. Makes life much easier with these push pins. All right, and the next thing is going to be all of these little 8mm bolts, and there's a couple on either end. It's a 5.5mm if I remember correctly. Let me find my little socket set here. 7/32. I think they are technically 5.5mm, but the 7/32 works. And it's just a little plastic thing. Don't have to worry about rounding the head using the improper size. And then the other ones are 8s. Really got to use power tools when they're available to you to really speed up the process. All right, so that's it for the top part. It's just gonna pop over these little, whatever you want to call them, these little tabs. And then the last thing is going to be on the bottom. So there are, I believe, 4 8mm, I think, on the back of the splash pan. You can take those 4 out, and the bumper and the splash pan will all come off as one unit. However, I just kind of don't feel like getting out my jack and jacking up my car so that I can slide under there to get them. So I'm going to take a look at the front one, see if I can't take just the bumper without the splash pan. All right, guys, so it's kind of hard to see on camera. These are 7mm. I can't remember if the ones on the back are 8 or 7, but there's some around here. There's one here, here. I'm going to take those out, see if the and I believe the splash pan will separate from the actual bumper. And this is a performance pack. The non-performance pack, the splash pan is a little different. I do not know if these are all the same for the non-performance pack splash pan, so I couldn't tell you about that, but this is a performance pack. All right, guys, so that did it. that is correct for the front. I wasn't 100% sure because, like I said, I didn't do it this way last time, but that is it. You'll have to pull these down. You can see why. So just pop these down on either side, and the bumper will come right off. Got to disconnect the headlights, or the, I'm sorry, the turn signals. And there you have it. Bumper's off. Splash pan is still on. Catches all the dirt. So, with that being said, or done I should say, the air filter is going to sit right here. So from there, if you guys can see that on my head camera, to there. So let's bring it out. Let's get to it. All right guys, so this is all the parts included in the kit right here. Just gonna set everything down in a somewhat organized manner. I'm gonna move my bumper out of the way a little bit. Just be careful with this stuff. It's painted, you don't want to mess up your painted surfaces, but if you set it down just like that, it will stay. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so what I did was I obviously went ahead and took my intake off, took the heat shield off, just getting myself set up to go ahead and throw this thing on. Horn bracket is next. There's one little 8mm bolt right here, and it just comes off. Super easy, and I'm not too sure. So I believe, let me look at this and see how it's set up. I think the horns come off of this bracket altogether and get bolted onto this bracket. It's what it's looking like here. So let's see. Can't see it in any of these photos too detailed, but let's go ahead and get the horn bracket put on like that, and then it'll be a little bit easier to figure out from there. Just be really careful when you're working with this stuff. My MAF is still in there. You do not want to touch that MAF or anything. If you do, just take it off and get some MAF cleaner and spray it off with some MAF cleaner. But ideally, you want to not touch that with your hands. All right, so it's looking like I'm gonna have to pop the MAF out to get the bracket over it. So let's go ahead and do that. So the horn bracket is going to mount to the stock, I guess, location. It's gonna go on to the location where the filter bolts to the housing. So let's go ahead, and I forget what size these are. Nope, smaller than 8, 7s. I think they're 7s. Yeah, they're 7s. So now that this is off, what I'm gonna do, because I've had this intake for a while, and I have neglected to clean my filter. I need to clean my filter before I kind of seal it up inside of my bumper. So I'm gonna pop my pre-filter off. I'm going to go ahead and wash it, and then I'll put everything else on while it dries, and then when it dries, I'll throw it on and put the bumper back on. So that's the plan. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is figure out my whole coupler situation right here. So basically the PMAS side is gonna go, so where it says PMAS obviously goes here, and then this is my MAF plug, which I'm gonna need down there for the new MAF location. So it's looking like I'm gonna need the longer, bigger coupler for this part. May have to loosen this and rotate it a little bit up. So let's go ahead and do that. So just like that. And then the filter housing, that's gonna have to come up a lot. And let me make sure that I can still get this. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna have to put this on first. So let's see. It's gonna sit like that in there. And I'm gonna have to slide that over this tube first before I put the coupler on it. So go ahead and do that. And then this block off plate sits in there like that, and it blocks a whole heck of a lot of that engine bay heat. I may actually not need the long one here. Let's try the short one, because the long one pushes it way too far down to where there's not room for the filter. So I'm thinking I may just need this one. Obviously these steps will be slightly different if you have the non-Cobra Jet version, the regular version, but the Cobra Jet elbow is much different than the regular one. So something like that. Oh yeah, look at that. And then the filter sits right in here. Obviously this is going to be out of the way. Actually, let me go and do that now. Let me just get this out of the way so it's not like right there. So MAF connector, push that up out of the way. And then it's gonna sit right around there. Obviously with the filter on. Let's go ahead, let me grab these. Throw these on. All right, so as you guys could kind of tell from the time lapse, I had a little bit of trouble getting this all lined up to where this wasn't wanting to go crooked and all sorts of ways putting it on. I had to tilt the elbow up pretty good to be able to get this lined up with this part. So you may be looking at that if you have a Cobra Jet version of the PMAS. Obviously you want these pretty tight. You don't want unmetered air in there, meaning air getting in through here or somewhere where it's not being measured by the mass airflow sensor. That's not a good thing. It's not going to make it run good. It's going to mess it all up. I think this got a little backwards on me here. So that's going to sit. So let's see. There's a push pin down there that I don't know if you guys can see or not. And then that is going to go right there. So something like, I think that goes there anyway. Something like that to block off most of that engine bay heat from getting down there. We'll worry about that shortly. Chances are I personally may just zip tie it. It's just like a little 2-ounce piece of plastic. It's really no reason to bolt it in. It's not going anywhere once it's secured. So this is all tight. This is all good. Let's go ahead. I'm going to move these out of the way so I don't lose them. Set all that hardware over there. That's from the horn. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this and see. Now this side is a little bit weird, sitting in here kind of weird. So let's, I don't think I have to use the longer one. I'm going to use the same one that was on there before for now and see how that does. Let's just take a look here. Because the coupler will flex a little bit too, so it doesn't have to be like perfectly in line all the time. You know, the coupler allows for some play. And then that's going to sit up. May have to loosen that guy a little bit more. Let's see where that's. I'm not too sure why it's not wanting to go on there. I think it's just this guy right here. It's a pain in my butt. All right. So that is mocked up. However, it's pretty close to the splash pan, so I'm not sure if there's going to be room for the filter. Let's see. It's still wet, it's still drying off, but we'll see. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. Actually, the performance pack splash pan rises up a little bit right here, so that's kind of getting in the way a little bit. This filter is mostly dry already. It's pretty windy out, so it's drying it off real fast. I don't plan on starting the car as soon as I get it on anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw it on while I can have this housing, MAF housing, off the car. It's gonna be the much easier way to get it all together. So let's go ahead and do this. Guess I didn't need to take the MAF housing out, or the MAF out, to get this over. Fits over. And they give you new lock washers for this as well, because you now have this bracket on. So would recommend using them. You have them, you may as well use them. How do they want that to go together? I see. Okay, so big washer, and then smaller washer, and then lock nut. Repeat the process. So I'm now seeing it looks like this hooks in here where this used to hook on. So where the stock bracket was kind of on there, it's looking to me like, let's get this out of the way for a second. That guy's kind of getting on my nerves. Looking like you have to rotate it to where that bolts onto the stock location, which honestly does make a lot of sense because it holds everything in place. And then the horns will go right here. We'll get it, actually, where do the horns go? I do not know, but we will figure that out when we get there. I just want to get that mocked up, see if that is actually where that goes, and that is definitely where that actually goes. So it's going to hook on right there. Hopefully you guys can see it via my head strap. So yeah, pretty sure that's how that goes. Now the other factor for concern with this is the location of the MAF, the rotation of it. The MAF position does matter, it does make a difference, and it has to be facing a certain way for everything to run right, for it to, because it's, remember, it's metering the air that's coming in, so it has to be positioned correctly with the airflow that's coming in. So what I'm doing is rotating this bracket so the bracket can be in the right place and the MAF can be in the right place. So I am like one turn off. The bracket has to come this way, like one bolt spot, I believe. So let's double check this before I get it screwed on. Actually, no, that's too much. So the MAF has to be about there. And then that doesn't really leave me much room for error with the brackets. So let me take a second, let me get this figured out, and we'll come back. All right guys, so I took a few minutes, I got myself all figured out. I had to look at a few pictures of one already installed, because when I looked at it the first time before I got the kit, I was looking at it the wrong way. So I figured out the MAF position and everything, and this horn bracket will actually set you up for the proper MAF position. So if you guys kind of take a look, see if you're looking at it like this with the MAF, you know, right here, the plug facing up, put the, position it to where the part that hooks onto the car right here is at the bottom. So like that. This, when you hook it in, you bolt this horn bracket on, that will actually set up your MAF position the right way. So the other thing I had to do was cut myself a coupler from that big coupler. I didn't need all that. I didn't even need the one that was on it before. It is too big. So I cut a little piece of that one, and it's gonna fit perfect. once I get it up on there. So there's that. Where did I put my, oh, they're behind me. Clamps. And those will stay up while I throw this on here. Well, I thought they would stay up while I throw this on here, but I got it nonetheless. Get that horn bracket on, and then we will get this all buttoned up. All right, guys, there you have it. That's the whole intake. It's on. It's on. It's tight. Pre-filter is looking good in there. It's gonna help a lot. Now the horn bracket. The other option with this thing is to leave the horn bracket on there and just bend it. Basically, you have to take it, and actually, it's looking like there's not even room on my model year, but you basically just take it, bend it all the way forward to where this fits behind it. Can be done that way. I just don't want to start bending stuff up. They send a bracket. I'd rather use the bracket that they send. Oh, I messed up. That was supposed to go through there. So I don't know why, in all my infinite wisdom, that I couldn't figure this out immediately, but you take the horns off the bracket, which makes a lot of sense. All right, and that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense, doesn't it? So, horn bracket, intake, we're done, guys. Bumper time. And I did go ahead and, with this little plastic piece, I went ahead and used the push pin, and then up here, it was barely flimsy at all. I just zip tied it. Really no need to do anything else to it. So that's in place. That was the last thing. So this is it. Let me make sure my head strap is at a good angle here. So there's that. There's that intake. And if you'll notice, gonna plug in the math. That's the last thing, plug in the math. Otherwise, the car would not run, like at all. So, if you'll notice math position back there, and that's it. So, let's go ahead and throw this this bumper back on. I'm not sure where in the bumper installation it cut off. My SD card filled up, but this is the finished product. Bumper's back on. Remember, when you're tightening all these little things, you don't have to tighten them with Gorilla Strength. You're just gonna break the plastic around it if you do. You know, just snug and then a little bit more. Finishing just in time to beat the afternoon Florida thunderstorms. But this is the finished product. Looks pretty sick under there. Kind of makes it look like a turbo car, even though it's really not. But as you can tell, it really kind of focus on the darkness in there. It really blocks it off. I mean, there's like barely any space. So all that engine bay heat is not going to be going through there to the filter, which is the literal entire goal of this intake. So that's it, guys. Hopefully this video will help you guys out. Hopefully you can use it when you install yours. And my hood's a little tricky to close with the Cobra Jet on there. Even though I have the lowering motor mounts, it still touches just a little bit. You kind of have to force it, but like I said, hopefully this video helps some of you guys out. Hopefully, you know, when you go to install this, if you hit a snag, just watch it, check it out. Hopefully I answered all the questions. I'll try to stay in the comments and answer some questions if anybody has any. But that's it for now. See you guys in the next video. We got some cool stuff coming up, so hit that subscribe button down below. See you guys next time.